welcome to the Big Apple School podcast. My name is
Sam.
and your name is
I don't know.
Reno.
There we go.
Not Reno. Today we're asking what's the crack about
Movies.
movies or
Films.
sometimes films. Yeah, depending on how I feel, I guess.
Or pictures.
Yeah, or pictures.
Yeah. Don't you watch some pictures?
And you do say that in South Africa.
Used to. Mainly. My grandparents, I think, would say that.
Okay.
Yes.
My granny doesn't. She's too modern.
Okay. I think my granny is a little bit older than yours, though.
Is there something else she says, though? I'm thinking. Picture house, maybe? Maybe picture
Bioscope?
house.
We used to call it the bioscope.
Bioscope?
Yeah.
Never heard of it.
Bioscope.
Bioscope. But it's something to do with the apparatus.
I think it had to do with the apparatus and with the way they looked. The buildings, they all looked quite similar. Yep.
Okay. So we're going to talk a little bit about our taste in films. What are our favorite, how film has changed in the last 30, 40 years.
And it has changed quite a bit.
Yeah. Any kind of problems we feel that maybe not for us per se, but maybe some problems that the movie industry has in general, complaints that people have.
Or for us personally.
Or maybe for us personally. Yeah. So that is our plan.
Cool.
Let's get at it. Ken. Are you Ken?
I don't know, but there is a Ken.
I'm so used to saying Ken. We've done some podcasts with Ken.
Excellent. Maybe Ken and I should talk then. And you can watch.
And then you can call him Sam.
Yeah, I'll call him Sam.
Reno.
Yes, sir.
I got it.
Excellent. I'm very happy.
What's your top sort of 5-ish or just top films?
Okay, I will have to go with more than top 5. I absolutely love watching movies. In fact, in South Africa, it was very popular, actually still is very popular, to purchase DVDs, not download.
Who would ever do that?
I did a lot. My sister and I are both avid movie watchers and television series
FBI
watchers.
is listening.
But mine are all legal. They can go and check.
Okay.
Mine are all legal, all purchased, yes, all original.
Great.
So I
FBI,
actually have many.
Don't panic, FBI.
Yeah, all good. So I would have to start with probably one of my favorite movies of all time, Shawshank Redemption.
Yeah.
You know?
Great film, yes.
Fantastic.
I think I've only watched it once, quite recently. Like
your first time?
Few years. In the last few
my
years.
goodness.
Yeah.
It's excellent.
Yeah.
Morgan Freeman.
I was very impressed.
Morgan Freeman plays a magnificent role, as he usually does. The Matrix trilogy.
The trilogy?
Yes, I
Not
enjoyed.
just the first one.
No, I enjoy them from beginning to end, and I have watched them many times, many times.
Yeah.
Maybe something a little bit more modern or more recent.
Yeah.
The King's Speech.
Yeah.
With Jeffrey Rush.
Seen it, yeah. Good.
I thought it was very good.
Yeah. I like the acting in it. Great film.
I thought it was very good.
I'm not historically accurate though, unfortunately.
No.
But what is, right? Based on a true story.
Based on. The moment they say based on, there's some artistic freedom there. I have to backtrack to the 80s. One of probably the 80s most iconic movies. I think the director was John Hughes. I'm not someone who remembers directors' names in general, but this one I somehow do because he produced quite a few coming-of-age movies in the 80s, of which Ferris Bueller's Day Off was one.
Yeah.
You know the movie?
Yeah, I know it.
Excellent.
It's good.
It's
good
fantastic. Matthew
good
Broderick.
crack, as we say.
Excellent.
Good crack.
Yes, a very, very good movie. I really enjoyed that.
I need to rewatch that one, actually.
I actually watched it recently. It's just good.
It's just good fun, isn't it? There's
Yes.
something, and he's a rebel, and it's just, I don't know. There's
He's a
something
rebel,
about
but
it.
he's not a rebel. He's a good guy.
He's good, but he's rebellious.
Yes, not quite following the rules, but actually
What do you call that?
appreciate the rules.
Breakfast Club or something.
Breakfast Club.
It's similar.
Same director.
Similar idea. Like it's similar.
The same director.
Similar feel.
Exactly. I love this actress. Don't know if I should mention this movie, but I'm going to. Pretty Woman. For me, I don't know why. With Julia Roberts.
She's a very good actress.
For me, it's because she's so natural. When she laughs.
You feel it. Yeah.
Yes, it's. I love that. My Immortal Beloved.
Oh, no. Tell us
Not?
about that. I'm not
Okay.
sure.
Fantastic movie. It is about the life of Beethoven.
Okay.
From childhood to when he died. How he was abused by his father. How he became this outcast in society because he went deaf.
Wow.
Whilst still writing and performing his music.
Wow.
And how I'm not sure if this is historically accurate either. I'm in my romantic mind, I hope it is.
Yeah. Better not to check.
Better not check. Well, I don't think I will check. He wrote a letter to the love of his life.
Yeah.
And the letter was titled My Immortal Beloved.
Okay.
And you don't know who this person is. And after he dies, the executor of his estate is tasked with finding this person. And it's amazing, but it takes you through his entire history of who he was, why he was who he was. He cared deeply for people, and the more he cared for them, the worse he treated them. It was this. It's a fantastic movie. So do yourself a favor.
Worth watching.
It really
When
is.
was it released? Recently? Or?
No.
Not quite recently.
No. 15, 20 years. It's
an older film. It's not the last few
years. No, it's an older film. I have to mention one of Tim Burton's films. I'm
a lover of Tim Burton.
You do? Yeah. Excellent. So we can chat a bit more about Tim Burton. But my favorite movie would be Edward Scissorhands.
Yeah.
I love that movie. The oddity of it, the weirdness of it.
Creeped me out. Do you know when I was watching? I think I've only ever watched it once, but I thought it was going to be like a horror. But it's not at all like that.
It's the opposite.
Yeah,
completely
it's
the opposite.
Just completely up. I think if I watched it again, I would actually enjoy it. But because I was like, this is a horror, and I love horror. I love some horror, but I'm not a fan of gore. And I thought this is going to be gore,
and it's not.
And it's not at all.
Yeah, it's not at all.
So it creeped me out. But then
kindness and acceptance and tolerance and difference and how quickly it changes. Literally at the snap of a finger, you can go from being popular to the outcast. So I thoroughly enjoy that.
Yeah.
And maybe one or two more. Farinelli, which is a bit more artistic.
Right.
It's about the castrati singers of the 17 or 1800s, where we all know where this word comes from, where these guys would perform as musicians, fantastic musicians.
Yeah.
So go and watch the film. I won't say much more about that. And then I have to mention Lord of the Rings.
Yeah.
The trilogy, again, the whole trilogy.
They're my favorite films too.
Because Mr. J.R.R. Tolkien was born in South Africa.
That's the reason why you like the films.
Not only. I still haven't read the books, believe it or not. I find them quite demanding and challenging to read. And it's long.
I read them recently.
Yes.
Enjoyable, but it's wordy, I will say. They're wordy.
He's long-winded.
Yeah. I mean, a lot of describing of where they are compared to the direction.
I think they walk through
southwest.
Yes, I think they walk through the Shire for 300 pages in one of the books, which is quite a long time to walk.
Yeah. It's different from the film, but enjoyable, worth reading, I think. But you need to spend a bit of time. It's a heavy reading, actually. The length, just because of the length of them.
Yep. Give me some of yours, because I've been blabbing on. I'd like to know if you agree with some of these or not.
I like them all. That I've seen. I am a lover of the old Batman films, like Tim Burton, 1989, 1992, Batman and Batman Returns. Not perfect films, and especially I think Batman Returns, it's not perfect. It feels like a theatrical thing, you know.
Yes.
It's all staged, but
a little bit Tim Burton style.
That is his style, and Gothic, and I love the Gothic feel, and the characters are very much Gothic characters.
Tim Burton.
He loves
the Gothic scene.
A lot like his cartoons.
Yes.
But I love the drama at the end of the second film, Batman Returns, where Batman is not fighting. He's confronting the Penguin, and then the Penguin we think is dead or gone, and then he confronts Michelle Pfeiffer, who's a fantastic actress, as Catwoman. And there's also a side villain as well, Max Schreck. And the whole idea, because he's trying to get through to Catwoman, that you don't have to give in to this side of you. Like they're both struggling with duality.
The good and the bad side.
It's
the
really
yin and the yin and yang.
It's really dramatic. It's amazing. Like it's a comic book film. And then he thinks they die, and Penguin comes out of the water where he'd fallen into, presumably dead. And it's the music, the drama of it all. It's, for me, it just hits. I don't know. It's just
It hits
fantastic.
the spot.
I love it.
Excellent.
That scene alone makes the film I would say it's my favorite film. To be
Fantastic.
honest. Even though there are other scenes that I don't really like, I think that they're not well done, not well choreographed, but fantastic. And I love Batman.
Okay.
I have since I was 10, 11 maybe.
Okay.
I started to watch these kind of films and I love Batman. Always loved the cartoons as long as I can remember.
Excellent.
And I'm interested in bats too, but that's not maybe
Real
that's
bats.
Real bats, although I don't
Okay.
often see them, but I did see them when I was younger. Lord of the Rings again. I love them.
All
I like
three?
that genre. All three, but my favorite is the first. It's lighter.
Yes.
They're together. They're friends. I enjoy it more. But
Unfortunately,
but they're all
by the
great.
nature of the story, the second and the third one
But they're
had to
all
be a
great.
bit more, bit darker. Yes.
Yeah, but they are all great. They're all fantastic. The best, Marigold Hotel. It's a kind of drama comedy.
I never watched it, so you need to tell me a little bit more about this.
There's romance, I think, too. I know there's romance too, and there are lots of really seasoned, older actors and actresses.
Some examples.
Judi Dench, for example. is
Love
there.
Dame Judi Dench.
Really good. I think there are a lot of British actors too, and lots of mix of accents. And for me, that I enjoy hearing a mix of British accents in a film. It's another Harry Potter I like for that reason too. But it's really good. I think it was really well written. The actors are all fantastic. It just something about it that just hit me, resonated. But it's quite funny. It's also romantic, can be serious at times too. I love it. And I'll tell you what else. The Sherlock Holmes films with Robert Downey Jr. Have you seen them?
Yes, I actually have. He's such an interesting man, such an interesting actor. He makes whichever character he plays just so different. Interestingly different, not just different. Interestingly different.
Do you think it's subtle or it's?
No, I think it's
not
in your
subtle
face different. I think he's a bit more Iron Man, and he
kind of. How would you put it? Is it ego and egotistical, or is it not that strong? Maybe.
I think to a certain extent, maybe a little bit about his ego, yes.
Yeah.
And I think he is very eccentric as a human being.
Yeah.
So I think it comes through in his acting and how he prepares for his roles.
The second, if you ever watched, like the first time I watched the second film, the scene on the train, and I don't know if we should get into spoilers or not. It's not really
It's not a spoiler.
It's not really a plot thing, but not a huge thing.
Not a huge plot.
He's dressed in drag, and I can't remember the lines or anything, but he meets his, Dr. Holmes, his assistant, effectively. And just the whole scene where he turns up dressed in drag and he's behaving as if it's normal and giving him instructions. And the scene is fantastic because there's lots of action, but it's just this whole seriousness while dressed in drag. And for him, it's perfectly normal.
It's normal.
It was so hilarious. I laughed my leg off at that. And it was great. I really enjoy those films.
He's a very good actor.
Well directed.
Yes.
Great actors. Fantastic films. What films did you like as a child that you
Interesting
enjoyed?
enough, before I went to school, so this is giving my age away, but before 1979, there was no television in South Africa.
Okay.
Actually, no, let me rephrase. I think television arrived in South Africa in 1976, maybe. My parents only bought a television in 1979 or thereabouts.
Okay.
So, or 77. So before that, we used to go to the drive-in. I don't know how many people know what a drive-in is, but it's where you literally drive with your vehicle. You get a little microphone or speaker system that you attach to your window.
Right.
And you watch on this huge silver screen your movie with the sound playing in your car. Newer versions of this, actually, you can use your car's radio and tune into their...
Sounds like a good idea.
Yes. So, and of course... I'm too young. I was too young. I cannot remember what movies we went
Always
to see.
nice when you can say I'm too young.
I was too young back then.
Too young.
Yes. So it's too long ago. After that, we never really had a great selection. South Africa was quite closed before 1990.
Didn't get a lot of American films.
No, but we did get a lot of kung fu or martial arts movies. Those ones where you would watch them, their lips made one movement and the sound that came out was something completely different.
Yeah.
So we had a lot of those movies. I think if I have to talk about a favorite movie when I was younger, probably not childhood, maybe more teenager, was the Freddy Krueger Nightmare on Elm Street movies. I love the horror genre, horrors, thrillers, psychological thrillers, and it's the first 3 of I think there are 8 or 9 in the entire series. The first 3 were fantastic. I spent many a sleepless night after watching one of those movies.
I've never watched them. Again,
no!
I'm not a big. I'm a horror fan, but I try to avoid slasher films.
Yes, and this is more. It's a bit more like a slasher film. Yes,
I mean,
but gory.
It's funny thing is I've watched Alien and other like Jurassic
gory movies.
Yeah, it is gory actually, but for me, it's okay when it's a creature doing it. It's not so bad. I don't know. There's something about slasher films. They're too creepy for me.
I enjoy them. It got a little bit tired, I think, after the 6th or the 7th one.
As it might.
As it might. They always go a little bit further than they should, but I can still remember the rhyme in the dreams that people would have about this man. 1, 2, Freddy's coming for you. 3, 4, better lock your door. 5, 6, wear a crucifix. 7, 8, don't be late. 9, 10, he's back again.
It's creepy.
It's very creepy.
There was a Buffy the Vampire Slayer episode, something similar.
Yes, with a reference to that.
And it was very creepy.
Yes,
too.
with reference to that.
Yeah.
Yes.
And it was a good. I love Buffy the Vampire Slayer.
So that's what I can remember from my childhood. Probably the clearest would be that. Yeah.
Okay. I had quite a lot of American television, and still do. We still do, but TV's now not a popular thing with young people, right? But I watched The Goonies. It's kind of a
I remember
young,
The Goonies.
I don't know, like tweens, pre-teen. Kids
yes.
having an adventure. They're a little bit rebellious too, a little bit naughty, and it's an extreme adventure with pirates and everything, like only what you could imagine. I watched Beverly Hills Cop, and I think I specifically liked Beverly Hills Cop 2.
Yes.
There's a scene,
Eddie Murphy, isn't it?
Yeah.
Yes.
And his laugh and all. I mean, I guess it got tiring after a while, but his laugh was hilarious.
Was it the same time as the Police Academy movies, wasn't it?
Yeah, I loved those too, actually. My granddad, my dad's dad, used to love watching them. And I got into them too, a little bit too, although I didn't see all of them. I
also didn't see all of them. I don't even remember the plots, but I do remember the movies and watching one or two of them.
The characters that is the best, I think, about Police Academy films. And Beverly Hills Cop 2, there's this scene where his sidekick was a white guy, right?
Yes.
And they found a bazooka, and he's just reading the instructions. And it's played straight. But it's so funny because he's reading the instructions of this bazooka as if he doesn't have a clue. And he's holding it like a phone or something. and he presses this button and it shoots and blows something up.
Uh-huh.
You know, it's just the way it was played. It was quite funny. You know, he's not a macho guy at all, and he's just
completely
pressing
the
this
opposite he
button.
was.
Yeah, and he just blows up and kind of saves the day, I think, in the end.
Excellent.
Good feel-good films. I like the music. Eddie Murphy was
movies.
funny.
Yeah, happy movies.
Yeah, so that was memorable from my childhood. I used to like MacGyver, but I don't think there was ever a film of MacGyver.
The television series.
Series.
Yes, I used to watch that. I remember that very clearly. Yeah, Richard Dean Anderson was the actor. I remember that clearly.
If you ever rewatch it, it's terrible.
I did watch 1 or 2 episodes of some of the shows I used to watch in the 80s. Knight Rider, I don't know if you remember that. Oh my goodness, with David Hasselhoff. You watch it now, you actually cringe at what you thought was entertainment.
It was really, really good.
It was fantastic back then.
The A-Team, although I think the A-Team's still okay.
I think the A-Team are still good. I mean, the movie was not bad. The A-Team movie, which was done relatively recently.
It wasn't bad.
It wasn't bad.
I don't know if it was fantastic either, though.
I don't think so. I think that's probably why there wasn't a sequel. Yeah.
And do you know, by the way, you mentioned a guy from South Africa. Do you know that Liam Neeson is from Northern Ireland?
I do.
Yeah.
And interestingly enough for me, Liam Neeson's acting career has taken off quite late in life.
Yeah.
And where he plays these very macho action roles in Taken. And
I think it started with Taken.
It started with Taken, which is a fantastic movie. I enjoyed it.
I'm not sure if it's going up now anymore, but he was really, really popular.
Very popular. There were a couple of those, Taken and Taken 2. I forget the names now, but he made quite a few action movies quite late in his career, where usually the other actors start slowing down. He sort of amped it up a little bit and started.
They somehow managed to find.
Yeah, it was after he played James Bond. Maybe no, he was never James Bond. I'm lying. I'm lying.
James Bond. But if only he were a bit younger, that would be great to have for me, like Northern Irish James Bond.
I think he would have made a better James Bond than Daniel Craig.
I like Daniel Craig.
You do?
Yeah, I do. I like the films. What was it? It's Casino Royale. Is that the one where they have a scene where they're on the rooftop?
I think so.
Fantastic opening scene.
I think
Brilliant.
I don't know. The Bond movies, for me, just by the books and the description of James Bond, he should be this tall, dark,
more like
mysterious stranger, more like the Pierce Brosnan.
Very tall.
Yeah, more like the Pierce Brosnan type character than Daniel Craig. I don't know. He wasn't very successful for me.
Okay.
But it's in my opinion. For me, he wasn't very successful as Bond.
Yeah, and Idris Elba. They talked about him. You know, they would have him as James Bond, but I think now they've missed the chance. It's gone too far. You know, Daniel Craig's doing another one. I don't think it's going to happen. But we'll see.
Okay,
what happens for that? Who knows? Who will be? Maybe you will be the next James Bond.
I think I put my acting career on hold for a bit.
Okay. Let's pause it. Let's pause. Do you like superhero films?
Not all. Not all. But I must admit that the X-Men movies I really do enjoy.
Even the old, like 2000 ones?
Yes.
Yeah?
Yes. I must admit I do enjoy them. Maybe because there's such a variety of people in there.
Different abilities and
different abilities, different quite enjoyed Deadpool because the humor is just so dark and so bad at times actually. So raw.
It's actually quite close to the comics, I think. Although not exact, but I think it is quite close to the comics, and I think that's part of why it was so popular. Because people want it to be close to the comics.
Yeah, absolutely. And people want superheroes. People want to believe in the better things in life.
It's escapism too.
Absolutely.
Have you ever read a comic book connected to a film?
I've read books connected to films, but not comics. Strangely enough, it's the one thing I never really got into as a child. And I think your love for comics and comic books and those characters, I think your love for them is fostered when you're young.
Okay.
I enjoy watching them. So I've watched many movies related to books and vice versa. The
Yeah.
most recent actually is It,
Yeah.
which
I've
is
seen it.
obviously
And
Stephen
there's going to
King.
be a sequel.
The sequel is this year.
Uh-huh.
I think maybe a little bit later we can chat about remakes of movies and things because there's an original version of It,
Yeah.
which I loved.
Yeah. I've seen it too.
I-
I've seen it too.
I've also seen It 1 and not It 2 yet. I don't know. I don't know what your opinion is on this. I find the movies often to be a letdown.
Compared to the book.
Compared to the book, yes. If the movie is based on the book. Because sometimes they do it the other way around. They release a book because the movie was there.
I was a little bit disappointed with The Hobbit. I'll say I don't often read books connected with films. Because I think if I watch the film, I don't really want to read again unless it's of course, Lord of the Rings was an exception.
Yep.
I read The Hobbit before there was ever any idea of the film. And I was disappointed with the ending because I really felt the ending in the book, and in the film I didn't feel it so much.
Okay.
It is emotional, but not to the same extent. Let's get down to kind of an issue that we might have or people might have with cinema. How has it changed?
If I think back to like these coming of age movies I referred to earlier, things like Ferris Bueller's Day Off. It's changed quite a lot. I understand the need for CGI.
Yeah.
It has opened the scope of the type of movie you can
much
make.
more imaginative. Things.
Absolutely, you can be much more creative and more imaginative, and things can actually take place somewhere that doesn't exist because you can create it. However, I sometimes miss the realism of those movies, which it was shot on scene. You could see
puppets and all kinds of things.
All the trees and the dog and the whatever in the background were real. It was something real. Someone real was walking there. There was a real house standing there.
Something more gritty about it.
Sometimes. Although, if I think back to those movies, the acting was so scripted. You could see they were really saying their lines sometimes. So, I don't know.
Specific examples? Can you think of any?
Oh my goodness.
I'm testing you now.
What did I watch recently where I thought, maybe not so great? Actually, it was Ferris Bueller's Day Off, which I still really very much enjoy. And he's quite natural, the main Ferris himself, who is played by Matthew Broderick. But some of the supporting cast, you could see, these guys
we could call wooden performances. I guess.
Wooden performances. You could see really they were reciting their lines. And I somehow don't find as much of that these days because I think sometimes the movies are shot a bit more naturally. Improvised lines are not frowned upon as much maybe as it was back then. I'm not sure.
Okay, so there's actually an improvement in some cases.
I think so. I really do think so. The sci-fi and fantasy movies that we are watching, Lord of the Rings, prime example.
Yeah.
Prime example.
Great films.
Fantastic.
Even though the CGI, I mean, when you rewatch them now, you can see the CGI is not as good as some of the really good recent films.
Yeah.
I'll tell you what I've noticed. And maybe this is just me, I don't know. Films like the really popular action films like Arnold Schwarzenegger and stuff were like the big films back in the
Terminator.
80s. Terminator,
I'll be back.
Predator, and all kinds of like Die Hard and all those kind of films seemed to be like really super popular back in the 80s and 90s. And now it seems to me like it's superhero films. This is the thing.
It's the trend.
It's the thing that drags people to the cinema.
Yes.
Whereas back then it was the blockbusters with Arnie and Sylvester Stallone.
And things blowing up. Yes.
There's still things blowing up. We have to have things blowing up.
Of course you do.
But it's now different. It's more about the comic book characters now. And it's that draws people to the cinema.
Do you think it is because people want to escape more? Because if I think about Die Hard, that's, although it was far-fetched, but a lot of it you thought, maybe this could actually happen.
There's a realism in it.
There was a little bit of realism in understandably not the entire movie, but
Yeah.
a plane can be hijacked.
Yeah.
So it was a little bit more actual.
I think the people that created these films and do create them just hit on a sweet spot. They just got it right.
Maybe all of those characters, maybe we are those fans of the comic books in the 70s and 80s, and we are now grown-ups.
Yeah.
And we want to see the grown-up version of our comic books.
Maybe. Yeah. I am Batman after all.
Oh, you are?
I mean, I imagine.
Honored to meet you, sir.
You're very welcome. What about remakes? We should mention this. Are there too many?
I prefer not to watch remakes.
Yeah.
As with music,
Never. Not at all.
I cannot even think of one. It is the only one I can think of now, which I have watched and I did not enjoy the remake of the movie. As with my music, a lot of 80s music is being remixed and reworked and I do not enjoy it.
Yeah.
It maybe because it was my frame of reference in the 80s and the 90s. Those are the things that created or made me who I am. It's part of me.
Yeah.
Maybe that's why. I don't know. What is your opinion on this?
I think that unless I see the trailer and I think it looks bad. I mean, I just look at the trailer, but I will go and see a remake.
Okay.
Purely based on whether the trailer looks good or not.
Okay.
But yeah, even I sometimes get tired of the idea of remake. And
enough now.
I think it's becoming like they're playing on nostalgia, preying on nostalgia. And I think even things that to me don't seem very long ago are being remade. So I think it could improve.
I agree.
How do you think Hollywood could improve? What can they do? What kind of films can they make that
I don't know if it's
good for you?
I don't know if it's about the kind of films. I have to refer to Tim Burton again. I enjoy these movies where you can see the director has found the actors who work well in his movies. He understands what he is good at. Yeah. He understands what his actors are good at. And he uses that and he creates movies which are great.
Yeah.
So,
and there are some great directors out there.
Exactly. Yeah. So I enjoy that when a movie is written well, when the script is written well, when the acting is done well, when the director knows what to do, when to do something strange and when not to do something strange.
Yeah. Not just a plot twist for the sake of a plot twist.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So.
Okay. And what's your favorite line from a film? Have you got any? Well, while you're thinking, I like lots of lines, of course, but get to the chopper. Do you know that one?
No, where's this
from Predator? Arnold Schwarzenegger. Get to the chopper. Don't you know it?
No.
Oh, next time you watch Predator, look out for it.
Maybe.
Get to the chopper.
Maybe. Okay, mine is not so action driven. If I think about lines which I thought were quite fantastic, have to refer back to Julia Roberts again. I'm sorry. In Notting Hill, when she spoke with Hugh Grant and she said, "I'm just a girl standing in front of a boy, asking him to love me."
Even I know that.
And for me, it's one of those. I can see that whole scene. It's one of those lines where I thought, wow.
Yeah, it's brilliant.
It's brilliant.
Yeah.
Brilliantly acted, brilliantly written, just good.
Yeah, fantastic. Okay, that was our podcast on films. Thank you very much.
You are very welcome.
So we talked about what we enjoy, our favorites, what kind of childhood we had connected with film.
Some childhood memories.
A little bit of what is good and bad about films today, what we think could improve. And overall, I think we love films anyway, regardless.
Absolutely love watching.
So that was what was the crack? That was the crack about
movies.
Movies.
Excellent.